Perfecting and Reforming Personal Religion, Chapter 11, Breakdown. In Chapter 10, the ending idea was that there is a present labor for our devotional conversation. And the present labor for our devotional conversation is a labor of retaining wisdom. And retaining wisdom by exercising the self of our faith with the scriptures and with the material that we acquire from the scriptures when reviewing them. There is a choice of life that our faith can live, and the choice of life that our faith has, it can either live in a realm where its experience is dictated to it and where it is routine according to what is associated with it traditionally, or our faith can exist in an atmosphere that it has cultivated itself and in a home of furniture that it has built by experiencing the philosophy that is within the Bible. The heart of the matter when it comes to the scriptures, when it comes to our faith is wisdom. Our faith needs to understand itself. Our faith needs to experience itself. Our faith needs to understand that it is living. Our faith needs to understand its own character. Our faith needs to understand its own thoughts. Our faith needs to understand how to carry out its own existence within our body. Its own individual existence within our own individual body. To the same creator of us all. To the same wisdom guiding us all, or that is supposed to be guiding us all. Our faith needs this experience the same way we as human beings need the same experience. We need to be put into environments where our mind can expand. We need to be put into environments where we can feel different things, where we can learn different things, where we can apply what we feel and what we learn, and where we can test what we have applied when feeling, thinking, and learning what we have been feeling, thinking, and learning. The same way that we would carry ourselves, the same way that a parent would put their children into different experiences to grow their character, is the same way that we have to take care of our faith. The same way that we have to place our faith into conditions for its own manifestation. And that comes as we go to the source. We have to have material to exercise in order for our faith to grow, and that material comes from the source, the scriptures. Now we may think, I don't need the Bible. Like I'm doing this all on my own. I can do this. I got it. I don't need the Bible for learning anything because it's all in me. I have it. Everything the Bible just said, like last Tuesday, I experienced that. Like most definitely that I experienced. And then that I experienced like 2 years ago, so I've learned that already. I really don't need I don't need it. The experience I can own is my own. And very well. That is your thought, then that is your thought. But what we inevitably retain from ourselves, it is limited. Ensure that limited experience can transcend that limited experience by repetitive doing of that experience and non-doing of that experience. All good, all well. But in the end, we're simply just going in a circle of self. When turning to the scriptures, we have a level of intelligence occurring outside of ourselves that we can put within ourselves. And not only simply put within ourselves, we have a level of intelligence from outside of ourselves that we can actually look at and review and find a better way of making it live within us. And so the experience, even though still a self-experience, the experience is guided. It is guided by a form of instruction. It is guided by words, by scenarios, by illustrations, and made sense on a daily basis. And so when we're thinking about that experience and how we are trying to make sense of ourselves, whether it is with the Bible or not, with the philosophy that is within the scriptures, there is well-being, because we have a logic and we have a rationale that we can test our own logic and rationale against. Without it, we just run in a circle of our own logic and rationale. We may not really escape the issue, but we may be hiding from it by the things that we encounter or dig up or unsource. But when we have the scriptures there, when we have a guiding philosophy, we actually have something to challenge us. And that's really what the scriptures are there for. The scriptures are there to challenge the way that we think and feel. Firstly, devotionally. Secondarily, as a human being. And this comes with a price. And the price is expensive. Chapter 11, perfect and entire, wanting nothing, hinges on a principle of patience. Of where patience, we read in the scriptures, is what makes us perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Now, to be found wanting, paragraph 5 lets us know, is to be found in a condition or in a state where we are existing through bodily government. But this means existing through bodily government, paragraph 6 says, in a way of to do what is unlawful or unjust concerning the intended experience. And that intended experience is an experience where we are executing quote-unquote sin and not really executing the philosophy or the intended experience that the scriptures have sealed for us or to us in our faith. And faith, not thinking denominationally or not thinking traditionally, but faith meaning our confidence in the Creator. Our confidence in the Creator is to go through an experience where it is retaining an understanding to help its own self. But when one is found wanting, and that one not being us personally, that one being our faith, when our faith is found wanting, our faith is found in a condition where through bodily exercise, it will seek to achieve what is supposed to be inwardly or mentally achieved initially. And so we find ourselves when wanting, going from place to place, remaining in places, going from person to person, remaining in theories, to satisfy what is within us, to satisfy the hunger that we have to learn more of what is within us. See, we're looking for something. We're looking for something to convert us to the lifestyle that we know we should be living when it comes to the scriptures, but we don't know what that lifestyle is. But we know it exists. We know it exists, but it has to be somewhere. And so in that state of wanting, we find ourselves looking for what exists in places that will not give it to us and that cannot give it to us because our individual person cannot be healed by them. But we don't know this. We don't know this. Now, our human being, when I'm saying we, is what I'm talking about. Our human being does not know that our faith cannot find alleviation in the places that we send our faith to. A wanting conversation is a faith-based human conversation. The faith-based human conversation needs a stimulus in order to believe that it believes what it believes is the belief it should be believing. Yeah, it's tiring even just saying that. But that is the unhealthy conversation. The healthy conversation labors with itself patiently. The healthy conversation labors with itself patiently. See, when patient with our faith's self, when we don't grow so frustrated that we can't understand something in the Bible, when we don't grow so frustrated that we cannot execute the principles of the scriptures perfectly, when we cannot be patient enough to realize the effort it takes to unlearn our past self, we put ourselves into trouble. And the trouble that we put ourselves into, we actually do not want to face it. So we turn to an external experience. We hide our faith in an external environment. And I'm not talking physically, in an external environment mentally also. And not simply physically, mentally, but also emotionally and spiritually and devotionally. We do harm to our faith when not patient with it. And we have to be patient with our faith because the experience calls for patience. See, what the Bible is asking of us is to allow the body of our faith to grow and to develop. Now, we can't see this body. It is the worst thing to allow this body to have a mind of its own. It is scary. And it's scary because it involves work and action, dedication, perseverance, all that good stuff that our human being naturally dislikes. We would rather hide our faith than to see it face to face. At the moment that we allow our faith's face to meet our own, that is the moment we realize that the battle we kept up against our faith was so not worth it. Being afraid of change, being afraid of not being with the community, being afraid of being different in thought and in belief, being afraid of realizing that what is institutional is not correct, being afraid to realize that the opinion we have of what is within the Bible is not correct. All of these things and more keep us from experiencing what our faith knows it should be experiencing. When I again say faith, I'm meaning what our confidence in the living God knows it should be experiencing. All of this involves a work of patience. And this work of patience is for, again, as in every single chapter thus far we've been able to say and to connect, we can again say it is for bettering or healing our human being. And then, more than that, paragraph 7 of this 11th chapter of Perfecting and Reforming Personal Religion lets us know that there's more in relation to a public service. So we don't really realize the gift that we receive when we have a confidence in the living God. We don't realize the gift that we have been given, which is a gift leading to a public service that only our individual essence can execute. In order for our individual essence to execute the labor it was born to execute, a stage of growth and development is necessary. Now, the Creator, we are all born for a reason. I am born for a reason. You are born for a reason. We are all born for a reason. The only way that that reason can be useful is if our human being has culture. The only way that we can be useful as human beings is if that being has culture. Now, we can give our human being culture and at the root still be uncultured. And we are and will be. Because we, ourself, which is born without culture, is giving to our human being culture. It's weird, but this is what we do. This is what we're naturally framed to do. But the mind inspiring the Bible has another plan. That other plan is to implant into our human being wisdom of a culture, so that our human being, which has no culture, may weigh it. And then prior to doing that, placing within ourself a culture which is not born with a culture. So that when the culture within self, now from the living God's mind, meets the culture within the human being, the human being can receive instruction. Now, all of this involves patience. This is a process of getting our human being to achieve practical usefulness. That's what this is about. That's all this is about. Getting our human being to the point of practical usefulness. And to the point of practical usefulness, to where the wisdom within the philosophy that is within the scriptures can shine as our guide to inspire anyone else seeing us demonstrate what that philosophy has led us to demonstrate. And this is major. This is major because this leads to industry. This leads to personal industry. This usefulness leads to personal industry, making life valuable, making life worthwhile. Making life not only satisfying, but giving us a reason that can sufficiently, financially, and spiritually, and all other illies, take care of us. And it's absolutely ridiculous, but the process involves the growth and development of our faiths, culture, and character, and that involves patience. The conversation that can patiently go through that process will be left perfect and entire, wanting nothing, and we are told in the scriptures, Hebrews chapter 9, perfect according to conscience. So when we're thinking perfect, we're not thinking perfect as in the traditional scope of holiness that we assume when religious. That's not the Bible at all. At all. Perfect according to the conscience, meaning the experience has principles that are executed from within, without. The experience has brought us closer to the living God's devotional character, that our mind is set and straight. And by that set and straight mind, we function. And so this chapter ends, positively, with the fact of enjoying the beauty of our faith's trial. Enjoying the beauty of our faith's trial. Not taking for granted the pain that it takes or the impatience we have. Trusting the process. And in trusting the process, we are trusting the usefulness of the scriptures to us internally. We won't get it this week. We won't get it in 6 months. But what we have been reviewing with ourselves, what we have been practicing with our faith, it will all connect at a time that is necessary. And at that necessary time, we will then have more to dive into the scriptures about for another necessary time of connection, and to repeat the process until we become more than well. And that's also the goal, is wellness through pain. The pain may not be physical, the pain is mental. Wellness through enduring our faith's growth and development patiently. This is a part of perfecting and reforming our personal devotional conversation that is not so automatically thought about, but we will feel it. We will feel it in time, the more earnest and the more sincere we allow our heart to be.